Hey, everybody, and welcome to the One Lane Road Podcast. This is Lucas, and I got DK sitting here.
Hey, happy Memorial Day from us here at the podcast, and we're getting together 2 weeks in a row for the first time in a little bit.
There we go. We're trying to figure it out. We're going to start doing these whether both of us are here or not. Dustin's going to come down and turn it on and go with it, and I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to get somebody to...
Lucky I'm here.
Yeah, he's been sick.
This has been the worst year ever. My new boss has got to think that I'm just...
Flaking out all the time. Yeah, man. It's been through this house already. Kara's had it. I've had it. Camden's had it.
Since the first of the year when I went into sales, we've had the flu hit our house, the stomach bug hit our house. Both the boys had strep throat. Lindsay had kidney stones.
Oof.
And then whatever hit me after the concert the other night, I thought I was just having a hangover, but then I was hoping it was just a hangover. But like the night before, my jaw right here my cheekbones was hurting a little bit.
Yeah.
And Lindsay said, I punched you in your sleep last night. And I said,
now, she probably did, but that probably wasn't what that was all about.
So then as the night went through to the concert, my throat started hurting more and more. And I woke up in the hotel, like I said, I was hoping I was just nursing one.
Yeah.
But man, by the time we got to like Lebanon, throat was hurting. There's sores in my throat, sores in my tongue.
Oof.
So I've just been gargling a lot of salt water and taking cough. I'm traveling.
I'll spray that mic down with Lysol as soon as you leave.
You better, man.
Yeah, I might just throw that cover
I ain't got time to be sick. I got to travel for work this week, and I got vacation coming up.
Yeah, sickness ain't never on anybody's schedule.
Especially this week.
Right.
I need to get my fat ass in the gym at least a couple days this week.
Man, what have you done? Did you work Friday? Did you work this past Friday?
I guess, yeah.
No, you didn't? I did not. This is my 4th day in a row off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's nice. I'm happy about it, too.
Yeah, it's nice having those. A lot of people know how to use their vacation times better than I do.
Oh, yeah. I took that one and got 4 in a row on it, so I wasn't mad about that.
That's what a lot of people at my work do. Like I take it a half a day to go to a Titans caravan or something stupid, back in the day, and then they don't have them for Thanksgiving and Christmas and like 4th of July. People's taking off days in a row. I'm like, man, that'd have been cool.
Yeah. It was such a beautiful day today. We got out and went for a little family ride. I've been kind of stuck in the house for the last couple of days, but we went for a little family ride today up towards the lake. Looked around at it, and boy, it's nice.
Yeah, you texted me the family ride. I didn't really know what that.
Yeah, we rode around. We rode off to the cemeteries, and showed Camden off to where his grandparents were at, and rode up to the lake, took a look just to see what everybody was doing. Made me want to buy a boat and learn how to swim.
Ain't that true?
I told Kara, I said, if I get 6 life jackets on my big head, I'll go out in this water.
Oh, man, I'm ready for the lake.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know what you meant by family ride for sure. I envisioned that's what it was, but I didn't really know. I didn't want to say, well, what's that entail? I just said, good deal.
Yeah, nice. Good job, big guy.
Yeah. So, everybody, those are nice. A nice little family ride.
Yeah, it was nice. Good time. I kind of shut myself up for the last couple of days, and Kara was up by herself, and she told me yesterday, she said, I don't know, I'm just bored. I thought, that's my bad, my fault. I made us all take vacation, and now I've not done anything with y'all.
Well, but you have done something.
I have done stuff here.
Looking good.
What about this?
I got a spoiler alert at people that have never seen this show live on Facebook Live or pictures or anything. We do this show in a basement.
Literally in a basement. We've been a little bit everywhere. We've been in the kitchen, in the living room. In the kitchen, in the dining room. We've been in a closet. Then we moved downstairs. And, the downstairs wasn't too bad for a little while. It was a little rough. I painted all the walls, and I made it look a little bit better, cleaned everything up in here. But it still looked a lot like a basement whenever you're staring at it.
Yeah, a lot of those first few episodes now that we've hit our 1-year anniversary, a lot of those shows are showing up on Facebook memories, and it's kind of embarrassing to look back and see we were in your dining room and in that closet with clothes hanging next to it. But and like I said, the basement was pretty sketchy to start with. But man, you've painted these walls over time, and you've organized things a little differently. And so now, what Lucas has done, we've actually petitioned this corner off, and he's got some paneling up right here, and we're gonna put some brick. Gonna
brick up above the paneling here and kind of give it a little bit better feel in here. And we got the sign up, and DK's going to bring some memorabilia down, and we're going to hang it on the walls. And
we got he's made a new table.
Made a big new table. The other one wasn't too bad. It was pretty neat. So the other table I had was kind of tall. It was about 4 foot tall. Everybody kind of just stand around it. It's kind of bar height. But man, this big old computer kind of just kept getting in the way, and you really didn't have room to spread out and do anything. But so now I've got a big table.
Did you cut it at all, or is it 8
I did
foot?
a little bit of it's 8 foot.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I told you I was gonna cut it down.
Yeah, I didn't think it.
Well, I moved it over into the room, and it just looked to me like I could make it work. So I just went ahead and left it like it was. And I went and got a little bit of leather here and covered it. And it ain't real leather. Nobody know that if I didn't tell them.
Well, nobody would know the paneling's not wood.
Well, that's true.
So yeah,
it's starting to come together, man.
So I know Lucas, once he gets something on his brain there, he's going to get it done as quick. So I'm sure that's why Kara knew.
Yeah,
Kara should have known that was going to happen.
Yeah, she knows me, so she seen that coming. I did hang 2 doors in the house this weekend too, so I put in a toilet in the bathroom, so it, I gave a little bit and got a little bit.
So yeah, she's had her chances too.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So it's looking good, man. Coming together. We'll get a. I did the videos. I kind of teased everybody. I did a couple of videos down here, and I talked about I was about to get a video out, and I was watching that video. Man, it just looked bad. It just didn't look good, which was one of the reasons why I didn't put it out. So I was going to start putting the video portion of the podcast up with the podcast, but man, the basement just didn't look good, man. It just a little embarrassing about what we had going on. It didn't look really professional, so I thought, man, I just got to do something. And I had it on my mind for a little while about what I needed to do, and here it is, man. Like you said, once I get something on my mind, it's happening.
I like it a lot, and I like it a lot. And I just wish that I wish we'd maybe had this a lot of our guests, but it's better late.
Yeah, we'll get them. We'll get the next go around. Yeah,
get them back in here. So, because you never know what people's going to think when we bring them down here.
Yeah.
To the
Because
I've seen Lifetime movies that ended that way. People in dingy basements.
Yeah.
So I got stuck watching another one of those earlier before I took Well into basketball practice.
You watched another Lifetime movie?
I had to
Which
stop.
one was it this time? Let me guess. Candice Bergen was in it.
Oh, you need to.
Candice Bergen.
You've got to get this out of your head that she's in every one of them, because I've literally never seen one in like 10 years, in the last 10 years.
I've only ever watched one.
And she was in it.
She was in it. So in my mind, she's in all of them.
You've got to expand your horizon on this. This one was called The Psycho that she met online. And I don't know how it ended, and it's killing me.
Candice Bergen met him online?
The bitch wasn't in the movie. Okay. She wasn't in the movie. Move on. Dadgum. You know what? Your room here is progressing better than my dadgum CD player on his truck.
It is. Oh yeah, me and DK's been trying to put a CD player in his new truck for a week and a half now.
That's what happens when you buy old vehicles. You can fix them up as much as you want to, but
boy, them electronics will get you every time.
I've put new wheels and tires on it, but I'm having to rock that cassette player, because even the
he rolled up with a Hank Williams Jr. cassette popped in this 2004 radio.
Yeah, I mean, nobody believes the truck's that old. Like a lot of people are like, that ain't that old. I'm like, nah, that's not 04, man.
But let me go ahead and ask you a question. My 2003 didn't have a cassette player in it. CDs have been around for a long damn time. What's up with this cassette player?
Chevrolets, man, I think. Chevrolets are always a little something. I don't know.
They're way behind. They're like 10 years behind if they're still rocking a cassette player.
Yeah,
Walmart quit selling tape cassettes in 2000.
God, surely. Yeah, I don't even know. It had a CD player in it too, above the tape player, but it don't even work. I had a feeling it wouldn't.
Yeah.
So I put a CD in about 3/4 of the way, and I heard it about to eat it. So I was like,
Yeah.
So I got to thinking. I said, no, my dad gave me this tape collection.
Yeah.
And I had cassette tapes. I don't know what I ever did with them. But Daddy, a couple years ago, he goes, hey, you think you'd want these?
I said, hell yeah, Rick.
I just looked at them for like a solid minute and said, I mean, yeah, I'll take them.
Said, are those 8 tracks, Dad?
I said, and I thought maybe one day I'd sit down, because I've got a record player that has CD, auxiliary, cassette, and record on it.
Yeah.
And I've like a lot of people, I've got into vinyls the last few years.
Yeah.
Got a pretty solid collection of vinyls. Old, some of the ones I've jacked from Daddy, then some I bought off eBay. A lot of my artists that I listen to put out stuff on vinyl.
Mm.
So Cody Canada, Shooter, Jason Eady, Justin Wells, they all put out vinyls.
Really?
So I've really got into, actually overpaid for a Shooter vinyl that come out as a record store day release.
Uh-huh.
And you could only get them in certain record stores, the only place they're released. And I paid like
way too much for it.
At least double. Yeah, but I wanted it.
Yeah. That's what happens. You get something on your mind, you go get it, right?
Yeah. Like them damn Caymans.
Oh, yeah. Them
Cayman boots.
Cayman boots, yeah. Talked about them for about 3 or 4 days and then had to have them.
I thought about them a lot longer than that. I watched them on eBay for a long time and I snuck them in on Lindsay. I kept saying, my new boots. And she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I want to buy me some Cayman. She goes, what the hell's Cayman? I was like, well, it's
like a little crocodile, baby.
She's like, those are gator. She kept I was like, they're Caymans.
Yeah, they're different.
Damn it. So, anyway, the son of a gun left the price tag on it that he bought at the record store, $21.49. Like, yeah, you sell it on eBay. There's people trying to sell it for like $50, $7,500.
Yeah.
On eBay, and I thought, whatever. So I finally see this guy an offer and bought it. But yeah, going back to it, so I thought, man, maybe sometime I'll sit back and find some new music on these cassettes. If I'm ever just sitting around thinking, I'll pop this in and try to find an old song. So I just kind of be funny the other day, I just went and got a big stack full and took them out to the truck and was like, I guess this is what I'll listen to until me and Lucas get that CD player. Because Amazon keeps telling me, yes, this will fit your truck. So I've ordered installation kit and wiring harness after and one or the other.
None of it's fit.
You're a liar, Amazon.
Yeah, none of it worked.
I've already give positive feedback to the seller.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
No, I mean,
you had already given.
Because they got it here so fast. I was like, well, I'm sure everything's going to work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know what tape I've been listening to the most?
What?
The baddest ass band that nobody talks about.
Who?
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Oh, yeah, I love me some CCR. Hey, you want to know somebody who's like a CCR aficionado? Kara.
Really?
She can straight up name some CCR songs, Jack.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, no idea. So I popped in a CCR CD one day, start playing through it. She knew every song, knew everything, knew the next song that was coming up, had been listening to them.
Somebody raised her, right?
Somebody raised that kid right.
That might have been Ray Likens.
Nah, I believe it was probably Tara.
Really?
Her mother, yeah. I think her mother was a big CCR fan.
Well, Tara just got some cool points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Kara will straight up go to some 1970s, 1980s rock and roll concerts. She don't care a bit. She'll be down there in the middle of a Poison concert. She'll be Motley Crue. If they're coming to Nashville, she's going to see them, Jack.
Kara's mom will?
No, Kara.
Oh, Kara.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's every one of these 1980s bands that's come to Nashville, she's been down there in the middle of them, seen them.
I'll be dang.
Yeah.
Little
known fact about the wife. Loves some 1980s rock and roll.
Well, a lot of women do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember listening to them with Rick when I was little on the vinyl. So that's what's in my cassette player right now. And Waylon said, "Are you listening to that because you like it, or because or did your dad force you like you forced me to listen to music?" I was like, "Well, you listen to 98.5 and pop music with your mom."
Yeah.
And you're singing girl songs every time I'm around you, so I feel like you need to be forced.
You need a little bit of testosterone flowing through.
A little bit, something. I don't know what kind of sissy stuff he listens to with Lindsay. Hey, our Preds tonight. Our Preds kick off
First game, Stanley Cup.
You know, they're not in Pittsburgh. They're not selling catfish to Nashville residents.
Oh, yeah.
There's a sign on the street at all these fish markets that says selling to Pittsburgh Penguins fans only. If you're a Nashville fan, don't even ask.
Don't even ask for catfish.
And they're IDing you.
For catfish?
See where you're from.
That's hilarious. You think a bunch of people pulled catfish up through there with them?
I don't know.
What was the catfish deal? Why were they throwing catfish out there?
Man, that's a hockey thing, and I know it's been a thing for years and years, but I'm not following hockey.
Well, I know the ducks thing is big. Throw some ducks out on the ice, right? For the Mighty Ducks are playing. They're going to throw some ducks out on it. I've seen that, knew about it. Had no idea about this catfish thing.
I don't know, and I'm not pretending to be your bandwagon Preds fan like a lot of people will be.
Right.
If Carlos would have ever Carlos has been trying to get me to a Preds game, but I felt like he was going to coach me
the whole time
there during the whole game.
Yeah.
And so Mackie was hung up in love with Goose, so I didn't. He never give me a ticket. Damn it. You know, when Mackie was married, he asked me to go everywhere with him.
Yeah.
Breaks up and gets a new girlfriend. She takes over DK's spot, and I never appreciated it.
I don't like it.
Liked the girl just fine, but damn it, you're taking away my ticket.
Give me that ticket back, woman.
Give me the ticket at least once every few games. And I just felt like Carlos would have coached me, and I wanted to be there for the experience.
Yeah.
Carlos is at a Cheddar's one time, guided me through plays. He drew it up with coloring crayons and tried to explain to me how hockey worked. Then during the weekend of Jeff Mackey's funeral, Carlos stayed at my house, and he got in my TV and was like, "No, this is where you go. This is where he go. This is why he's doing this." I was like, "Shit, man, I don't understand it."
You say I don't understand it. Not only that, I don't care this much. So you need to stop.
No, Carlos means well. He's a big hockey fan. It's rule number 1 podcast. I'm just this thing is draining my battery.
What?
So that's been light up on my phone, so I'm just clearing it off.
Oh, rule number 1: turn your phone off.
Yeah, don't read a Snapchat message.
Oh.
So yeah, I got distracted there for a minute. I couldn't even so anyway, so basically, I kind of rebelled against hockey because Carlos was like, "Oh, screw the Titans stuff. You need to be collecting Pred stuff. You know, there's all kinds of money.
Mm-hmm.
You need to come to Preds this." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm just not a fan right now. You know, I want to be, but you're wearing me out pretty hardcore about it
and making it worse a little bit."
Yeah. So he was like, "Well, the money, you need to sell this stuff. This is where the money's at." I'm like, "I don't do this to sell it." He's like, "Blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "You need to come down for Preds." And I said, "Look, I don't get to come to the stuff that I want to as often as I want to. Why would I take off a Tuesday at 11 to come autograph a bunch of hockey players I don't know just to resell?"
Yeah.
How about I stay at work and get some overtime and make that money?
Yeah.
It was exhausted. Now that they're making this big run, I'm like, man, I really wish I could have just been more involved. But
yeah, well, it's neat. You know, it's for we've been waiting for it for a while. You know, since the Titans went to the Super Bowl, we've kind of been waiting for our big shot again. So this is kind of Nashville's big shot. And like you're saying, a bunch of these bandwagon people out there that don't ever watch hockey or you know jumping on there now. But hell, it's cool.
But I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I am too.
Now, a lot of Preds fans that have been there, they probably will get defensive about it. But who cares?
Yeah, I mean, all it's doing is helping the sport, right? That's all it's doing.
Maybe some of those guys will, start watching hockey and everything. But I guess I can sense that because I'm getting a little of that being a Titans fan, because people laughed off the Titans and wrote off the Titans like the year they won 2 games total.
Yeah.
And I was at 7 of the 8 home games that year.
Uh-huh.
The one I missed was the one they won. And like everybody's like, "Oh, the Titans are such a joke, blah, blah, blah. Why do you like the Titans?" But Mark Kinsley said, he's like, through thin and thin, you've been there through them. If anybody deserves, I think it's when I won a season tickets. If anybody deserves it, you deserve it. So now that they're 9-7 last year and keep building, who knows? I get a little grumpier, so maybe I'll be the butthole next year.
I don't necessarily care about fair weather fans if they don't talk trash about whenever they're not winning.
Yeah.
If everybody was like, "Yeah, they'll get it back," and then get really on board whenever they start winning, that'd be all right. But that's not what most of them do. They start talking trash, right?
Oh, they're terrible. They're terrible.
They're awful.
But
I can't believe it. This is an embarrassment to our state.
It is an exciting time, and I'm happy for all those fans that have been fans for a long time. I know this has got to be special for them.
Yeah.
And it's got a buzz all around the state. And I was in Nashville the other day. I was actually at the Eric Church concert. Saturday night, which is fantastic. And there was a chant while I was in the beer line: "Go Preds, go! Let's go Preds!"
Right.
I mean, at a concert.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really taken over everything. And, boy, they're to be the number 8 seed in the West, and you're not supposed to beat any of the first 3 rounds. Here you are with a chance to win it all. So, yeah, really cool. I can't wait.
That'd be great. That'd be a great thing to bring home to Tennessee.
And that's game 1 is tonight, 7:00.
Bam.
So. Then also Thursday night tips off the NBA Finals, which I know a lot of people don't care about as much, but in the playoffs have been horrendous this year. I mean, just god-awful. Awful. But the 2 teams we always knew was going to make it, the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So
what's that going to look like? Did Boston wind up winning 1 on Cleveland?
They ended up winning 1, yeah.
They ended up winning 1. What happened there? I thought they were going to sweep that and we're just killing them.
I don't know. Isaiah Thomas, the main star for the Celtics, got injured, and they looked like a whole different team that game 3. They come out and played more team ball and snuck up on them. They was actually up. I think in game 4 they were up again.
And then
Cleveland.
I'm assuming LeBron kind of took charge the rest of the time.
He's looking pretty
good.
I posted a really long Facebook post this week. A lot of people made fun of it just because it's so long. But it was really the debate because LeBron passed Michael Jordan in career playoff points. He's the leader and probably will be the leader for a long time. So I just really give a comparison of Jordan and LeBron, really. Yeah. And the point being is that, anybody in our generation and older is going to say Michael's the man, and your younger generation's going to say LeBron is. I was just trying to make it, and it looked really long, and it was long, but if it was being said in word, like I would know, if I still had my radio show, I would have definitely covered it, and it wouldn't seem so long. But I feel like the younger generation needs to acknowledge the greatness of Michael Jordan. I talked to him the other day. He says, I love Jordan. I loved him, and he was our age.
Yeah,
this guy's our age, and he said, I love Jordan. He goes, man, he couldn't ever play with these guys today. And I laughed at him. I said, do you know what you're talking about? That is what I said. What I stopped myself from saying is, I said, what do you know what you're talking about? And I said, Michael Jordan would mentally tear apart every single one of these guys.
It would be much worse now because all those guys he was playing against were used to that trash talk. These guys today, they're
so tender.
So tender.
Anytime Shaq or Barkley says anything about them on national television, they cry and they pout up. They can't take it. LeBron included, Durant, any of these guys can't take any bit of criticism because they've been patting on their ass the whole time because they're AAU babies and they're just pampered from the time they start playing ball until now. They've been pampered and catered to.
Yeah,
and they're little pansies about stuff like that. I said, you're crazy. I said Jordan would mentally tear these guys apart. But at the same spectrum, with LeBron, it's preposterous that people in our generation and they're Jordan fans don't give LeBron.
Yeah, they completely dismiss him.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic ball player. There's no doubt about it.
He's
there's really a top 3 ball players. I mean, that's always going to be in the mix now. It's going to be Jordan. It's going to be Kobe. It's going to be LeBron. They're going to be in everybody's top 5 from now on.
Yeah, and Kobe gets overlooked a little bit, but and like I said in the post, I said LeBron has always, to me, been Magic Johnson in Karl Malone's body because he's got the point guard skills. Yeah, but he's in a big frame. Yeah, 6'9", 250.
Yeah.
But he's also got Jordan's scoring skill. The comparison's always been made. To me, there's not a comparison Jordan and LeBron. LeBron to me is Magic Johnson. He's a 6'9" point guard. That scores more than Magic did, but he has to score more. Magic played along with the all-time leading scorer in history, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He had great players. He didn't have to score. Magic scored when he had to. To me, and like I said in the post, Jordan's closest was Kobe. Kobe's the closest thing we'll ever see to Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
because Kobe from a young age studied Michael Jordan. I mean, his ins and outs.
Yeah.
Studied him. He's the great value brand of Michael Jordan.
Right.
That's what I said.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he obsessed over being Michael Jordan. The way he walks, the way he talks. There's a video out there. It shows Jordan making a move and Kobe making a move. They're the exact same person.
Yeah.
And not
only that, Kobe had a little bit different upbringing there too, with his dad being a coach.
And playing in the NBA.
And playing in the NBA, and him being able to go overseas and play in Italy for all that time. It was... He had a completely different upbringing, the way basketball went for him.
And another point of the whole post I said was, why do we have to? I get it in sports we choose. Everybody's always like, we have to take this guy or that guy. I said it's like Brady versus Manning in football. I said, why do we have to choose? I said, why can't we just appreciate that most of us in our lifetimes have got to enjoy both of these guys in their prime, right? I mean, Jordan. Now we were in junior high when Jordan retired the second time in '98. he came back with the Wizards 01 through 03. And that was Michael Jordan light, but he still turned people on. For the most part, though, we watched Michael Jordan growing up, and we've got to see LeBron his whole career.
Yeah,
just to appreciate it. We got to see greatness.
Yeah,
we got to see too. Carlos always says LeBron's not in the top 10.
Well, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous.
That's just a guy hating.
Yeah,
and Carlos will love him, and I don't want to. It's been 2 shots at Carlos, but like really, anybody that discounts LeBron James as not a top 10 player of all time is just a hating for no reason.
Oh yeah,
I'm not a LeBron James fan. I hope the Warriors crush them.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. Probably not going to get crushed. They might beat them. Probably going to crush them.
Yeah, and the one guy I feel bad for in all this is Kevin Durant, because if he wins, well, yeah, you're supposed to. That's why you went there. If they lose, it's good Lord. That guy's going to take a pounding from leaving Oklahoma City to go join Golden State. So,
well, he's making a good effort at it this time anyway.
It's going to be a great matchup to see.
So when does that start?
Thursday night. So I'm going to be in vacation and watching a lot of TV between the Preds being on and the Warriors and the Cavs, because Waylon's a Cavs fan, and I'm a default Warriors fan. It took me like 4 years to find somebody to root for after Shaq retired. I finally realized I like watching Steph Curry play ball, and I like Kevin Durant. Now they're teammates. So
yeah, did you see Shaq and Barkley getting into it on SportsCenter the other day by chance?
It was enough that Clint Fraley texted me and said, "What about Shaq and Barkley?"
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Did you see it? Yeah,
talking about bum and calling him a bum, and
well, that is the first time I'd ever seen him like just really talking trash like that. It was pretty hard.
They do it I don't know how much of that was real. And Shaq said something, or Barkley said, "With your fat ass," and Shaq said, "If I'm fat, you're obese." And called him. He said he couldn't win no championship. I'm about to come over and hit you. And you come over here, we'll be moving some furniture and all that stuff. Man,
I'd like to see those 2 big guys get into it. They're really buddies, though, right? I mean, that's just them talking trash.
Yeah, they got in a fight. Of course, TNT wore it out since Shaq joined TNT with Kenny and Ernie and Charles in 2011 after he retired, and they've shown that video of Shaq and Charles fighting from I think it was the 99-2000 season.
Yeah,
Barkley fouled him. Shaq picked up the ball, or maybe I can't remember. Hell, I've watched it 2 billion times. Shaq done something to him. Charles threw the ball at him. Shaq tried to punch him, and they rolled around the ground for a few minutes. They've played that video repeatedly on TNT. To ag those 2 on. Yeah, they're buddies. And even that night, I remember years later, they talked about it on TNT. They said, Shaq said, we just done that for show. He said, we didn't want to play that night. So we just, we got in a fight, blah, blah, blah. And he said, Charles invited me to his house in Houston for dinner that night. He said, "Did you go?" He said, "Hell no, I didn't go."
Did you ever see their bench press competition with The Rock?
I didn't. I missed that somehow.
Shaq and Charles got into a bench press competition. So they started out with 135, with The Rock. Which, by the way, The Rock's like 6'4", 275, something like that. Looks like a little boy next to these 2 guys out there. And so they're just going plate for plate. They lay down 135. Obviously, both of them crush it. They're so stiff that they could flick 135 off of them. 225, both of them get it right. 315, they both get it. Well, they go to 405. And I can't remember which one it is. I don't know if it's Shaq or Barkley or which one it is, but they put foam plates on one of them, and I believe it was Barkley put foam plates on his, and so it looks like Shaq can't get 405 and like floundering under it, and then Barkley just kills 405, right, and then racks it, and he has to pay him off or whatever. Then he flicks the bar at him and throws the bar at him, and it was just funny. You need to go watch it. It was pretty good.
I seen The Rock was on there when I don't see how I missed that.
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty good.
Okay,
that's about my extent of sports watching. Watching the highlights of them doing the bench press competitions. I like to watch the NFL combines. That's more my favorite than watching an actual NFL game. But I like to see somebody go out there and bench press 225 54 times and something crazy.
Yeah, it was Kevin Durant that year. He couldn't
bench press 135 that year. But he was like, what is he? How tall is he? 6'9"?
Yeah, he's like 6'11".
Yeah, and he's got 7'10" arms, and then out there trying to just pencil thin up there trying to bench press 135 and couldn't get up. So he's put on a little weight since then and manned up a little bit. He's like 18-year-old at that point in time.
Yeah.
It didn't
worked out pretty well for him anyway.
Yeah, bench press doesn't go into dunking a basketball too much.
So I guess we're going to. We have anything else to cover? Oh, Eric, let me talk about Eric Church real quick.
Go for it.
That was freaking unbelievable. And I told you last week.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the people I've seen, he puts on the best.
Yeah.
Different spectrums there, but Kid Rock also does a friggin' awesome job.
Yeah.
But Eric Church broke the all-time Bridgestone Arena record Friday night, beat Bon Jovi's record. Then he beats his own record Saturday night, the attendance record. And the attendance being, the reason everybody's like, well, if it's sold out, how can he do it? But he drops the stage where there's more seats everywhere.
Yeah.
And man, he just does. I'm pretty sure he was hammered that Saturday night show. He was drinking the Jack Daniels that everybody throws up to him. And, he fell on stage one time. He was hunkered down doing something with the crowd, and he fell over. And Mackey's like, dude, he's hammered.
Yeah,
he's hammered. And it's really cool that people bring in stuff for him to sign, like it's in the mosh pit. He took a big stack of vinyls and ticket stubs, and newspapers, and different stuff. So he signed like 15 things and handed them back out to the crowd during a little intermission thing there. He would stopped during the song and done it. But yeah, during the Jack Daniels song, you looked and he went under the stage and the camera went with him.
Yeah.
There was Kenny Chesney and Luke Combs, both just under the stage or behind the stage, and they were just pouring shots. He took a Jack Daniels bottle and poured shots in little individual cup or shot glasses. And everybody take a big shot. So we were just up in the crowd trying to match
him shot for shot.
Match him.
Yeah, did it work out for you?
I ended up with strep throat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you get for drinking the mosh pit Fago, ain't that right? The way it used to go. Yeah. Oh, before we do this next thing, I want to go ahead and do a little something here. I want to play something that I read off a while ago, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize about how I read it before I put it on here. This was surprisingly emotional for me for some reason. I was reading through it, and I kept getting choked up. So this is about my fourth or fifth read through of it, and I thought I'd leave it like it is. So there's some big pauses and stuff in it. But what this is it's the Medal of Honor citation for Master Sergeant Roy P Benavidez. Now, it's a story about what happened while he was in Vietnam, and you'll hear it here in just a second. It's a harrowing story, and the reason I'm wanting to play it today is in honor of Memorial Day. Now, Mr. Benavidez did not die during this battle, which is the amazing thing. After you get to the end of this, the amazing thing is that he lived through this. He did pass away in 1998, so he's one of our heroes. I picked him just because of how incredible his story is. There's incredible stories all over the place with soldiers, and and I'm not trying to leave anybody out, and I don't want to say anybody's story is any better than anybody else's, but I thought this was a good story, and I thought it fit pretty well for the day. So anyway, stick with it for just a minute. It's kind of short. It's just 4 or 5 minutes long here, but we're going to go ahead and put that on right now. Master Sergeant Roy P Benavidez, United States Army. On the morning of the 2nd of May, 1968, a 12-man Special Forces recon team was inserted by helicopters of the 240th Assault Helicopter Company in a dense jungle area west of Loc Nai, Vietnam, to gather intelligence information about confirmed large-scale enemy activity. This area was controlled and routinely patrolled by the North Vietnamese Army. After a short period of time on the ground, the team met heavy enemy resistance and requested emergency extraction. 3 helicopters attempted extraction, but were unable due to intense enemy small arms fire and anti-aircraft fire. Sergeant Benavidez was at the forward operating base in Loc Nai monitoring the operation by radio when these helicopters returned to offload wounded crew members and to assess aircraft damage. Sergeant Benavidez voluntarily boarded a returning aircraft to assist in another extraction attempt. Realizing that all the team members were either dead or wounded and unable to move to the pickup zone, he directed the aircraft to a nearby clearing where he jumped from the hovering helicopter and ran approximately 75 meters under a withering small arms fire to the crippled team. Prior to reaching the team's position, he was wounded in his right leg, face, and head. Despite these painful injuries, he took charge, repositioning the team members and directing their fire to facilitate the landing of an extraction aircraft and the loading of wounded and dead team members. He then threw smoke canisters to direct the aircraft to the team's position. Despite his severe wounds and under intense enemy fire, he carried and dragged half of the wounded team members to the awaiting aircraft. He then provided protective fire by running alongside the aircraft as it moved to pick up the remaining team members. As the enemy's fire intensified, he hurried to recover the body and classified documents of the dead team leader. When he reached the leader's body, Sergeant Benavidez was severely wounded by small arms fire in the abdomen and then by grenade fragments in his back. At nearly the same moment, the aircraft pilot was mortally wounded and his helicopter crashed. Although in extremely critical condition due to his multiple wounds, Sergeant Benavidez secured the classified documents and made his way back to the wreckage, where he aided the wounded out of the overturned aircraft and gathered the stunned survivors into a defensive perimeter. Under increasing enemy automatic weapons and grenade fire, he moved around the perimeter, distributing water and ammunition to his weary men, which reinstilled in them the will to live and fight. Facing a buildup of enemy opposition with a beleaguered team, Sergeant Benavidez mustered his strength, began calling in tactical airstrikes, and directed the fire from supporting airships to suppress the enemy's fire and so permit another extraction attempt. He was wounded again in his thigh by small arms fire while administering first aid to a wounded team member just before another extraction helicopter was able to land. His indomitable spirit kept him going as he began to ferry his comrades to the aircraft. On his second trip with the wounded, he was clubbed from behind by an enemy soldier. In the ensuing hand-to-hand combat, he sustained additional wounds to his head and arms before killing his adversary. He then continued under devastating fire to carry the wounded to the helicopter. Upon reaching the aircraft, he spotted and killed 2 enemy soldiers who were rushing the craft from an angle that prevented the aircraft door guard from firing upon them. With little strength remaining, he made one last trip to the perimeter to ensure that all classified material had been collected or destroyed and to bring in the remaining wounded. Only then, in extremely serious condition from numerous wounds and loss of blood, did he allow himself to be pulled into the extraction aircraft. Sergeant Benavidez's gallant choice to join voluntarily his comrades who were in critical states, to expose himself constantly to withering enemy fire, and his refusal to be stopped despite numerous severe wounds, saved the lives of at least 8 men. His fearless personal leadership, tenacious devotion to duty, and extremely valorous actions in the face of overwhelming odds were in keeping with the highest tradition of the military service and reflect the utmost credit on him and the United States Army. So after that, I just want to go ahead and thank all of our fallen soldiers, all of the family members of fallen soldiers out there that gave their lives and, have these wonderful stories. I love to hear military stories. I love war stories. Ones like this, really, for whatever reason, man, they get me. I don't know what it is, but those stories of bravery like that, they just, they cut pretty deep. So all of our fallen soldiers and all the family of fallen soldiers out there, we want to thank you. And just everybody remember, if you see a soldier out there, I know this isn't Veterans Day, and you're not supposed to say, this isn't the day that you're supposed to say thank you for your service, but hell, go ahead and shake a hand. Every soldier I see, I can go ahead and tell them, thank you for your service. So get out there and tell them.
Yep, I agree. So what we're going to do this week, to finish the show up, we had a lot of fun doing the interview with Lucas interviewing me last week. So
it was a good time. I enjoyed that.
And there was things after I listened back to it, things I would have answered probably differently.
Yeah. Like which ones in particular?
I don't remember. And there was a pet peeve that really bugged me that I thought of again this week, but I forgot it again.
Yeah.
Which sucks. So I guess it doesn't bother me too bad. But at the time, it hit me, and I was like, that's a pet peeve that sticks out.
Me knowing that this was going to happen, you'd think I'd put some thought into all those questions, but I kind of wanted it to be, off the top, kind of like yours was.
I'm trying to think which other ones I would have. One person we did live off the name association was Elliot Brown.
Big E.
Yeah, and
First guy I ever seen, I don't know why I keep going back to bench pressing. First guy I ever seen bench press 225 pounds, and the first guy I ever seen to curl more than 100 pounds down in the gym down there at Hermitage Springs. He was just a big kid, man. He was like probably 14, 15-year-old, just been out working on the farm his whole damn life and just so strong.
That's what it is. That's all. He's been working on the farm since he was 5 years old. So
yeah, and I believe it was Elliot. We built remember those little Amish buildings that we used to build up to the ag shop?
Yeah.
We built one of them, and we was trying to get it readjusted on the trailer and quite get something figured out there, and we was trying to figure out a way that we could get up. I'll be damned if Elliot didn't just walk over and pick up the corner of the building. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen, man. At that point in time, we was like two of us trying to get it, and Elliot just walked over and moved it for us.
Man, I tell you, he if we'd have been asked that last week, it's funny that we've been best friends for so long, and of course I've been best friends with a lot of people, but it's kind of funny because we were best men at each other's wedding, and I don't think you ever find two friends that are more different
than you and Elliot.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it's
that's
crazy.
probably true. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
to be best men at each other's wedding, and to be completely different people.
Yeah,
I don't even know. I honestly don't know any similarities much that we have.
Yeah,
but we've just been friends for so long, and it's just like you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you just never shoot. We lived at each other's houses from like ages 10 to 14. We were always. I was at his house. He'd stay all night with me Friday. I stay all night with him Saturday. It was always the trade off. We lived with each other pretty much.
I went to a swimming pool party at Elliot Brown's house one time, and I can't remember who. I don't remember what the group was, but I want to say baseball team, maybe t-ball or something. Anyway, there's this kid there he said, I want to swim out to the big game. So, shit, go get it, man. Swim out there if you got to. I said, and he didn't do it. I said, you can swim, right? Yeah. Yeah, I can swim. Yeah, I can swim. In my head, I'm thinking, this cat can't swim, So it's one of those pools that you go out about 6 feet and then it starts slowly slipping off. This cat starts walking. He don't swim. He starts walking out through there, and he slips to where his head's just barely underwater. He starts bobbing like a bobber out there in the middle of it, drowning. This kid is drowning out there. For anybody that knows me knows I can't swim. I knew this cat was in trouble, and I couldn't do shit about it. I couldn't get to him. He's just barely out far enough that I can't help him out. And I thought, I don't know what to do here. I'm gonna let him drown, I guess. And I went over there to somebody. I said, "Can you help this? Can you help him?" Oh God! And then somebody reached out there and pulled him back up and said, "You need to stay on the shallow end." No, I got a cramp. I got a cramp or something. I thought, man, just admit it. You can't swim. There ain't no sense in drowning out here in front of everybody just for a lie.
You don't remember who the kid was?
I can't remember who it was. I mean, I've got a person in mind, but I don't want to sully somebody's name, so I don't know if that's him or not.
I told you about the time I about drowned at Myrtle Beach, didn't I? Trying to save Chucky Smith's life.
No,
he was on junior beta convention and been my summer between my 8th grade and freshman year, I think, or maybe freshman and sophomore. I can't remember. And Chucky got way out there, and the waves were pulling us out, and it was me, him, and Cindy Fox, I think. Keeley and man, I can't remember the fifth. There was 5 of them. Lindsey Birdwell, maybe. Maybe Lindsey went. Yeah, Lindsey went. Yeah, Chucky was going under.
Heading under.
And I tried to swim over there to get him.
Yeah.
He was going, help, 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 help. And every time I'd pick him up, he'd grab me. I was going under.
Yeah.
Going under. Finally, we started waving enough that lifeguards came. And I was hoping it'd be like a Pamela Anderson type, slow motion,
not
big old hairy fat guys.
Yeah,
lifeguards.
That's so they can float when somebody's trying to drag them to the ground. Drag them underwater again.
So yeah, that was my bad experience with that. So
yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna get back to the interview here. It's a lot of the same questions. Just by default, kind of we thought we would ask a lot of the same questions.
Keep it similar.
Yeah, keep it pretty similar.
Yeah.
There. So we're just gonna start with start the interview here of me interviewing Lucas. So we're
Is it bad that I'm nervous for some reason? I don't like people knowing stuff about me. I don't think.
I know you've hid.
I've hid a lot of stuff.
You've hid the best you could in the last several weeks. So. But anyway,
maybe that's why I didn't think about the things as much.
Let's see what we can get you to admit here and what you can tell off on yourself here. So we'll start off standard like last week. What's your favorite part of doing the podcast so far?
This is a kind of a geeky answer, man, but I love the process.
Yeah,
I liked learning how to do it. I liked learning how to go through iTunes to get something approved to get on there. I liked buying all the equipment and finding all the stuff out, and just learning the technical side of it. That's the guy I am. It took me a while to come to the realization that that's just me, man. I'm just a kind of a geek at heart, and I like doing the technical stuff. I kind of get bored afterwards, and whenever I figure it out, I kind of get bored with it. But after that's
why you're always looking for upgrades.
That's why I'm always looking for something a little bit different, right? So it piques my interest. These microphone stands, they kill me now just because I know there's a better one out there.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's the technical side of it. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, and I think that's the give and take we have here. Because there's no way I don't think that I'm always the type that. Well, that's what Lucas likes to do.
Yeah.
And I don't get anything. I mean, I would like to learn how. But at the same time, I'm like, that's kind of his deal. And
that's like building this room, right? This is my deal, and I can produce stuff pretty quickly whenever I get it on my mind. I can't tell somebody what to do. Like that's one of the. I didn't call you say, man, I need some help for this because one, I would have. Do you ever see King of the Hill where he was trying to give Bobby a bunch of stuff to do? He gives him a list of chores to go do, and then
he does them.
Well, as he starts giving them to him, he said, "You got to mow the yard, you got to clean the gutters out and stuff." He goes, "That's my chores. You go find your own shit to do." So like doing stuff like this, I don't want to coach it, and two, I want to do all of it.
Yeah.
Too. So that's kind of my deal.
Well, what is so far, what's been your favorite moment or favorite guest with the celebrities we've had?
Like you say, they've all been fun, and I would be Thomas Cox was a pretty good one for me. I would like to have done things a little bit differently there. I was obscenely nervous for God knows what reason whenever I was doing it, so it didn't come off with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of excitement. It's my first run. And again, me being the technical guy, I'm not, that creativity side is not necessarily my forte, but it was pretty cool. But I tell you, the one that I really, really, really enjoyed a lot was the Mike DeMezza one. I thought it turned out well. I thought, the music turned out really well. I went back and listened to his. Damn, my mic just fell off. I went back and listened.
Buy some new mics.
Yeah, there you go. I went back and listened to his singing quite a bit, and getting to have everybody down here, and that day getting to have Jeff down here the night before, that was just a big one for me. I think that's probably my favorite.
That was a really good fun day to look back at.
It was, yeah, a lot of good times at that.
And that's natural, kind of to go back and look at Thomas Cox. It was your first interview,
yeah,
and when you didn't know him,
yeah,
really.
I literally had 3 or 4 text messages / emails back and forth with him. It's the only time I'd ever talked to the cat. I'd seen him. I seen him out at a thing that were at the Ag Pavilion where he was set up, selling his meal fit stuff, and I talked to him from that. But I didn't know him.
I was happy for you to get to do that interview because one, I knew it was something you were excited to do, and two, I don't feel like we've pressed enough buttons that is up your territory, right?
Maybe
sometimes, and
that's as much my fault as it is anybody's, because I don't go out and try to get these guests and talk to them. You've got to build a rapport with these people that you're wanting to talk to. You can't just go, "Hey, can I interview you?" and then expect them to say yes. They've got time. They've got families. They've got stuff they're trying to do. So I've not went out and pushed people. I've not given you a list of people that I'd like to, talk to. That's part of ownership. That would be if I was actively trying to get you to bring people on that I was interested in and wanting to talk to, then I should give you a list of people to go talk to, right? So, there's a lot of things that I can look back and see that I should be doing differently if I want to talk to more people. But I've really enjoyed, like I said, I enjoy the technical side of it. So as long as everything's going well, and let me tell you, brother, when it doesn't go well, it eats me up, man. I hold it in pretty well, but I will sleep on it. I will dream about it going wrong. I dreamt about that freaking Clay County High School. Oh man, it kept me up at nights. It kills me whenever stuff goes wrong. So, I still get a lot out of it. It may not, it may not come off, and I'm a pretty dry guy anyway, so it may not come out like I'm getting a lot out of it. I still have a really good time, and if I really was interested in all these other people like I think I am, then I would be doing more about it.
Yeah. Well, that brings us exactly to our next question. And who would be your one guest you'd like to get?
Oh, well, a couple people I can think of. Obviously, I'll go top tier, absolute top of who I'd like to talk to, The Rock, right? I'd love to talk to The Rock, right?
Absolutely.
I'd love to talk to Rogan. Love to talk to Joe Rogan. Love that cat.
Mm-hmm.
But, realistically, and he's still a big celebrity too. I'd like to talk to Rob Bailey. I know that's probably, I don't know if you know who that is or not, but Rob Bailey's wife, Dana Lynn Bailey, is the first Miss Physique Olympia back in like 2013 or 14. Mm-hmm. And he's a serial entrepreneur, man. He's built a lot of businesses, built business around her. He started out from the bottom, and now he's just doing his thing, man. He's just Flagner Fell Clothing. He's got a speed warehouse and the Warehouse Gym and all kinds of stuff. So I'd love to talk to that cat.
So maybe we'll start with him because I don't know if Joe Rogan and The Rock would be. The Rock is,
who wouldn't want to talk to The Rock, right?
He's got this world in the palm of his hands
right now. Yeah. And I tell you what, him and Kevin Hart, they make such a good duo too. I don't know how much Kevin Hart is the other guy that's kind of got the world by just in the palm of his hand right now.
The Rock's talking about running for president in 2020.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's a joke.
I hope it's a joke. I don't want The Rock to run for president, but
can it get any worse?
Yeah.
All right. So so we did cover this last week. Like I said, we covered a lot of these questions, but you're a Humber Springs boy, raised down here. We're literally a minute and a half from the high school, depending how you drive.
Yeah.
Depending if you drive like me or Lucas.
Yeah. And in 2001 and 2, if I was driving through there, it took a lot less time than what it does right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he used to terrify the hell out of me.
Yeah, probably the hell out of a lot of people in that
Mustang. Yeah. So what was some of your favorite memories of school down there?
Obviously the ball. Playing a lot of ball down there. Yeah. The team sports just teach you so much. And again, a lot of that's just looking back. You see what you learned in retrospect. But I love the ball games. I learned a lot from ag while I was down there. Jason Coons is still a good friend of mine now.
Yeah.
Was our ag teacher then. Had some good friends in that. Went to a lot of neat stuff while I was down there. So one of my favorite memories is actually getting to go. We went to the state land judging competition where we did soil judging.
Yeah.
And we took second place at the state, but what we wound up, we won by default because the other people, something, I can't remember what it is now, but something happened to where the people that had actually took first place discounted themselves somehow or something. So we wound up winning, and we got to go to Oklahoma to do a national soil judging event. We were the first team down there to ever go that far. Now, we had some predecessors that had done pretty well, had made it to state, but we actually got there and won, right? And then we went to Oklahoma, and there's been several teams that's went on and done it since then, but we were that first group. So that felt really good to me. I that's something big that I remember from down there. And
I've come to learn, being the butthole that I was, you don't call soil judging dirt. Because the soil judging team didn't like it.
They didn't like that, man. There's more to it than just looking at dirt, right? You gotta know a lot of stuff about it. I'm not gonna bore everybody to death with what all it is, but there's a lot to it.
And you learned the term fair to middling.
Fair to middling, yeah.
That was a big term there.
Yeah. Do you remember where it came from?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell everybody that is.
Where?
Fair, Texas to Midland, Texas.
Oh.
It's all the way from Fair to Midland.
Okay.
How's everything? That's Fair to Midland. It's a long way. It's a real long way is what it is.
Yeah. Well, Jason Coons really changed that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
We never had Mr. Clemens. It was an awesome man, but we never had him in school. But I know from our experience, Jason Coons really,
And we kind of grew up with him. I was his third group. He was our school. What was it they call it? He's the
sponsor?
Class sponsor. Yeah, he was our class sponsor. So I hung around him a lot, learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm a mechanical engineer now, and so a lot of the stuff I learned from him, played pretty well later on for me.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. So like I said, he was very instrumental in all you guys' upbringing there, and like I said, you're friends with him. His wife actually listened to our show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
shout out to Laura.
So anyway, anything else about school? I took that the long answer last week. It was more of the things I would have done differently. I think that's one thing. That's one thing I, instead of harping on so much on I probably wouldn't have dated one person.
Yeah.
And like I said, I didn't mean that in a negative connotation towards her or anybody else. It's like I think we're all like that in high school. Like, oh, I'm so in love, and like, before you know it, you're like, crap. Spent my whole high school doing that,
right?
Or taking it away from. I could have been spending with friends or whatnot. But now some of my memories, like I really loved Connie Dillahay in school, and Donnie Cherry. I love Donnie Cherry to death. And I tell you one teacher that I wish, going backward. What are you laughing about?
Go ahead.
I do.
Go ahead.
Is that wrong answer to say?
No.
I like Donnie and Connie.
Go for it.
One teacher that I've got pretty cool with in the last several years, just because he referees our junior pro league, is Lyndall Henson.
Oh yeah, Lyndall.
And I never really.
Oh, he's a funny cat. Yeah.
I never really fooled with him in school any.
Yeah.
Now that
he was some of our teachers. He in 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah, I had him one year, but
yeah, we had him
a couple years.
We had him a couple years there, and he would swap back and forth. We actually had a lot of classes with him, so he was.
But I still never fooled with him much. I don't remember nothing about him, but now I really like him a whole lot now. And I guess that would have been another thing. I just kind of messing with those teachers, and
yeah.
Now, I wonder where all those hot teachers were at too. Like everybody's getting busted with teachers and stuff. We had a bunch of old bouffant.
Well, they didn't want to come to Hermitage Springs. Yeah.
We had a couple good looking ones towards the end of our time there.
Yeah.
So what was the other things?
Oh, as far as things I regret or anything like that, there's really none. Everything gets you to some place. There's some grudges I still hold from there that they're just hard to get away from. I hate to hold a grudge. I ain't gonna air it out on the podcast. But there was really nothing that I would change. There's just some stuff I just would have stayed away from, and some people that I would have stayed away from.
Like who?
I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say it.
I don't think I know, dude.
Yeah, you probably don't.
I'm gonna find out here in a little bit.
Yeah, I'll tell you after the show.
Okay. So what about college? What's some of your favorite memories from Tennessee Tech?
I absolutely love Tech. Now there are some things I would do differently had I went at Tech. I went to Tech with the expectation of you're going to be an engineer. And I didn't know that I wanted to be an engineer, but that's what I went for. So when I got up there, I didn't know what else was out there. I'd always been told I was going to be an engineer, and so that's just what I went to do. And I got up there, and I wasn't super interested in it. But that's not to say that it was the wrong thing, wrong thing to do. But I just wasn't super interested in it yet because I just didn't know what else was out there. And so I got into math class. I was always really good at math. Engineering's a lot of math, and but I got up there the first day. Man, they passed out my first. I guess it was calculus. My first calculus teacher passed out a quiz on the very first day. He said, "This is going to be 30% of your grade." And we didn't even have lecture or anything. We didn't go over it. He just emailed the syllabus out, and I walked my quiz back up there, turned it in, walked out. I just cut out, and I thought, man, if it's college going to be like this, I don't know about it. Yeah. And
so you didn't finish it?
I didn't even do it. I just walked out, and I went and I got straight out of that cat's class. And I wound up finding a really good teacher up there, Dr. Richard LeBorn, and I wound up having him for every math class after that. And really, really liked him, really respected him. But I wished I had experienced more things prior to that, so that I wouldn't have wasted so much time. I didn't go straight through. I worked some in there. I was a mechanic for a little while in there, and I'm blessed to have had that time to have been able to do that. Had a great family that was able to support me to, go out and monkey around and do other things, and go on and do, and I had all the majors. I had every major up there for a little while. I was a business major at one point in time. I was a MIT or MIS major, and then I was undecided for a minute, and then I wound up going back, and after I finally got old enough to understand what it was that I wanted to do, man, I just knocked it out. I just knocked all of that straight out. And the other thing that I really, really, really regret, and if there's anybody listening to this that hasn't been to college yet, stay in the dorms. I didn't, and I regret that to this day that I did not stay in the dorms. There's so much going on in the dorms that you're just not exposed to whenever you're off campus, There's also something about the push. You've got all those friends that are going out and studying, and they're taking this time, they're doing this and doing that. I wished I would have been there to have had that pressure put on me. Yeah. And so that's my biggest regret about college, is not having lived in the dorms.
You don't hear a lot of people say that.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
I didn't live them either. So
yeah, it's just an experience. I wound up later on having a lot of friends that had lived in the dorms. And just having the experiences and the conversations with them about things that happened in the dorms, I just wished I would have had those experiences. That's something I made myself miss out on. I didn't want to live in the dorms whenever I was younger because it scared me. I didn't know these people. I've never took a shower with all these other people around, and I'd never slept in a room with somebody I didn't know before. So, it scared me, but I just wished I just wished I had taken that opportunity and just did it because it was a little scary. But because it's a little scary, I think that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I've never thought about that because a lot of people complain about the dorms, but I can see what you're saying.
Yeah,
and I never had that experience either. I visited a few dorms.
Yeah,
here or there.
Right. Yeah, but it
never stayed there.
If you go and look on the walls, they have community events in the dorms. They have stuff going on all the time that you should go be a part of. So if you're not doing that, it's you're really selling yourself short if you're not living in the dorms for at least one semester. You don't have to do it the whole time. Stay there for a semester, get the feel for it, go on with it.
Right. Now you were around. Of course, you were around me a lot, and one of our best friends that we ended up meeting was Josh.
Yeah,
of course, Josh Kennedy, Cucumber. Now, did he ever make a push for you to join the fraternity with us?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I think over time, I'm sure I said I was going to, and then I didn't. The more we talked about money, I just didn't want to put the money towards it. The dues, the monthly dues, and stuff like that. It wasn't so much of the. I wasn't scared to do that. I just didn't want to spend the money on it. Again, it wasn't the thing that I was interested in at that point in time. But Josh really loved being in the fraternity, and there's a lot of people that get good experiences out of being in a fraternity. So I just never wanted to do that. Yeah,
my thing was I met some cool people.
Yeah.
My thing is I had real friends. And that's not to say you don't get real friends. Like Keely Terry, girl I grew up with, she just married yesterday, and all of her bridesmaids, it looked like, other than her sister and one girl from here, Crystal, was all of her sorority sisters.
Yeah.
So a lot of people a lot of people take more out of it than that.
So the neat thing about fraternities, right? It's not that you're just joining a fraternity. What it is it's forcing you into a situation with other people that are going through the same situation you are. So there's no way for people, if you've got friends from high school that didn't come to college with you, there's no way for them to understand the experience you're going through if they are not going through it too.
Yeah.
And so what winds up happening is, and this is one of the things that happened to me, so this is just my experience from it, you get pulled back because you want to be doing what your friends are doing that didn't come with you. You want to be with them because that's what they're experiencing. You feel like that's what you should be experiencing. So the thing that a fraternity or a sorority does is it forces you into a situation where other people are having the same experience that you're having. So that's a positive side of it. That's something that's lost on a lot of people. It was lost on me at that point in time. Again, a lot of this is through reflection that I say this. So there's a lot of positives to it, and that would have been another opportunity for me to have gotten drugged back in. Those people are holding you accountable. Well, they're not actually holding you accountable, but they're moving, they're progressing, and so it forces you to want to move and progress. It's holding you accountable to yourself so that you can be part of the group that you're a part of. So
I mean, the thing is, like I said, I had my friends that I grew up with. And I didn't want someone to tell me that I couldn't hang out with them on a Thursday night because I had to be here with these guys.
Right.
And then it was another thing that we're like, well, you can't be friends with this guy if he's a pike or a teak or whatever. We don't fool these guys.
Yeah.
I've never done well with being told what to do.
Right.
Unless you're my mama or my daddy.
You didn't do too well with that either.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it just wasn't for me. And every time my dad wrote the checks, my dad did pay he was like, this is the dumbest damn thing to spend money on.
Right.
I hope you realize that one day. I've spent money on this.
Right.
So, it was. Never was much on the fraternity. I just never was much on it. Like I said, I meet some cool guys, and there's some of these guys.
And the other side of that is since Josh was in it, I got to meet most of those guys.
Yeah.
I didn't get the same. I didn't get the same pressure from them. I didn't get the same this and that from them, but I did get to meet them. Right, it's because we were such good friends with Josh. You were in the fraternity as well, and then so by default, I got to meet him, like Ben Cantrell. He wound up being. I'd lifted weights. I bought my first weight set whenever I was 12, and I lifted weights between 12 and 18. I went to college, met Ben, and me and Ben started lifting weights, and he was really the one that taught me what I was doing. Mm-hmm. So, he'll forever be a big influence on my life. And so I got to meet him because of that fraternity, because you and Josh were in it too. So I still got to meet some good people from there.
Yeah, and that's what I wish I would have done, because I remember getting recruited heavily,
Yeah.
Because they all send you this crap when you're in high school, and I started working with Ben and a couple other guys at the car wash there. So you meet them, and I could have been friends. With them anyway, because I lived right next to the house, right there, right. And all the guys, what happened was all the guys that I liked were graduating within that year. Ben and JD and Carl Pillow, like all these guys were leaving, and maybe I wouldn't have ever met Josh, which is the silver lining in this thing. But for every good guy you met, there was also a couple of them
guys that
douchebags, that you're like. And I still don't. There's a couple of them guys to this day. If I see them,
forget them.
Yeah, there's so many. There's two of those guys that still, when I see them,
The fortunate part about not being in the fraternity is you don't have to be around those people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Why would I pay money to be around people I don't like?
Right.
And that's where I was at with that. But anyway,
still
cool guys. So anyway, we talk a lot of music on here.
Yeah.
Who's more musician than living or dead that you'd like to see?
I've actually not seen a whole lot of musicians. I would, my musical tastes are, they're pretty varied. I listen to a lot of different people. I listen to a lot of country, but, there's just several people that I'd like to see, and the easy one now is Soundgarden, right? Yeah. Since he just passed, I'd love to have seen Soundgarden. Metallica, I'd love to see Metallica in concert. Mm-hmm. But probably my number one that I've listened to most, I don't know. Actually, probably right now, it probably is Soundgarden. Just as of right now, it's probably who I'd like to have seen.
Okay. What's your favorite social media site? Because everybody that follows this podcast knows you are a
social media fanatic on the game. Probably Instagram. I don't. These long Facebook posts, man, I can't deal with them. And that's not a stab at you. It's just like,
that's literally the only long one I've ever had in my life.
But I flip that thing on periodically and look at it, and man, people are telling their world on this thing.
Yeah,
stuff that, man, if your mama seen that, she'd tell you, why are you telling people your business? There's no reason to put that stuff on there. Don't like Facebook. Twitter is interesting, but there's so many trolls on Twitter, people that just hate on stuff just to be hating. I just don't like that. But at least with Instagram, you don't have to read the comments. You can just see the quick picture and, go on with it. And then I know memes were around before Instagram, but they have taken memes to a whole different level. And they are some of the funniest people out there ever. There's just some funny stuff out there. So I just like, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. And then, so Instagram, that's my thing. I'm not going to post anything on it, but I'll
you're one of those.
Yeah, I'll creep on 3 or 4 different people here.
All right, screw, marry, kill, and this is my retribution from last week. Since I'm having to.
Yeah.
All right, so, and this is taking 3 of your favorite interests and likes.
Yeah.
Combine them into one. Okay.
Yeah.
So Rich Froning.
Yeah.
Sturgill Simpson and Joe Rogan. I'm not even giving you a female.
Oh no, not even one. Let's start off with Mary. I'm gonna say Rich. We're gonna marry Rich.
Why?
Okay, because he's a conservative. He's a good conservative man. He's a godly man, and he's smaller than I am. So I'm gonna marry him because I'm not physically scared of Rich. He's a big guy, but
all these guys are smaller.
I might give him the palm of the head and keep him away from me. And I think he would care. I think he would be a caring guy. Okay. Just from seeing what he is, I think he would care.
Okay.
I want to screw Rogan. I've got to. He's a freak all around. So I mean, I'm sure it'd be a good time, And I'm gonna have to kill Sturgill, man. He's just such a prolific songwriter that I think that would be the perfect ending for him. You know, he's got this body of work that's amazing right now, and let's just go ahead and put him in that upper echelon of folks.
That answer was so good. Not to be. It's like I rehearsed that with you, and it was so off the cuff. That was really good. Rich has got a lot of.
He's got a lot of positives.
He's got a lot of days of walking bow-legged. That's all I can tell you. Coming towards him.
Yeah.
Big Lucas gets hold of him. Oh God.
That's pretty good. I like that
one. Yeah, I wasn't about to give you a woman option after what you did to me last week. Put my 2 favorite idols in there with one woman.
Yeah.
What's your dream job?
It's entrepreneur.
You want to own some shit, don't
you? I want to start some businesses. Just like I wanted to start this, I want to start a business and figure out how to make it run, and then I want to start another one and make it run too. And I just want to keep doing that. I want to be a serial entrepreneur. So whatever business that is, I don't know what it winds up being, but that would be my dream job. Be the guy at the top that got it started, that got it going, put the right people in the right places, and shoved it off into the world, and then start another one. That'd be my dream job. That's what I want to do.
Awesome. 5 facts that people may not know about you.
Well, I'll give you 5 facts. Whether people know about them or not, I don't know. 1, I can't swim. I was an aqua tot. I've got trophies that said I went to swimming class. I can swim straight to the bottom. My wife, I love you, Kara, but I can't swim. I cannot swim. She's trying to drown me. So if anybody ever finds me drowned in a pool, it's Kara's fault. I've got a big head. I've had it for a long time. We used to have to pull padding out of helmets in baseball practice. There was one that fit me and it got broke, and then we had to pull the padding out of one side so I could get a helmet on out through there. I used to race 4-wheelers. I don't know if anybody knows that or not. We used to race a lot, and never was any good at it, but I liked doing it. I liked working on the 4-wheelers. I'm an avid weightlifting fan. I know more about weightlifting than I really should. I know more about the people that lift weights than I really should.
And a lot about women's fitness that I didn't know you knew until that Amber interview.
You know, the thing about it is that's not the embarrassing part. The embarrassing part is how much I know about men's fitness and all the men guys that do the same thing. You know, no homo, but that was where I picked up my first men's fitness or muscular fitness magazine whenever I was 12-year-old, the month before I bought my set of weights, and I've been looking at it ever since, man. I've just been reading into it. And I don't know, man. That's probably about the only I'm pretty dull other than that. Just about I have about 4 facts for you.
All right. Hey, it's more than I could think of last week. It's hard when you just have to think about it off the top of your head. 5 pet peeves. Just annoy the hell out of you.
Whenever people take pictures and pull their top lip up where it looks like a pencil thin lip and show more teeth. Now, I get that you're supposed to show teeth while you're taking a picture, but that's just weird. I don't get it.
Let me interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
One that I forgot last week, I just remember. I hate these people that take selfies and have like a paragraph of lyrics underneath. Like, what does that lyric have to do with your selfie?
Right.
That bugs me. Go ahead. 4 more.
I hate getting stuff wrong. I hate getting... This is just a personal pet peeve of mine. I hate it whenever I get something wrong that I've been working really hard on, and I miss one detail of it that screws something up. That aggravates me to no end. I can't handle it. I hate that people will swerve at motorcycle people because they're looking at them. If you can't drive down the damn road without swerving at what you're looking at, you need to go back. Go back to school. I get it. Motorcycles are loud and they're pretty to look at, but you ain't got to swerve at them whenever you're looking at them. As a person that rides motorcycles, that absolutely infuriates me because you can see their eyes as they're steering towards you. It's crazy. I hate it when people flick cigarette butts out the window. Hey, that's littering too. I know people don't get it. That's littering. Flicking a cigarette butt out the window is littering. That aggravates the hell out of me driving down the road all the time. I guess I'll give you 4 of them too because I can't think of another one off the top of my head.
Those are hard.
Those are
hard. I know there's more that I thought of 3 pet peeves last week. I know I could at least told you 16. Okay, so let's do some spitfire here. Your favorite all-time musician?
Favorite all-time musician is probably Soundgarden, and I went blank on his name right now.
Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell. I don't know. I couldn't think of it.
I don't know.
Him or Prince.
Him or Prince. Yeah. Okay. Favorite musician you've seen live?
Shooter.
Can't go wrong with.
Can't go wrong with Shooter.
Favorite movie. A lot of people are probably just surprised that I didn't name him in a lot of my favorites.
Yeah, well, I've not seen a whole lot of people, and Shooter was one of the first ones that I went and saw live, so it was really good, and there was a lot of build up to going to seeing him, so it was the best. For me, it was pretty good.
I've been seeing him for 11 years now, and 12 years.
Yeah.
And the one I seen last summer, the last time I went and seen him, was the best he's done. I feel like he's just really coming into his own now.
Yeah.
I feel like he's finally putting his whole game together.
Right.
For me, I think so. Favorite movie?
Troy, Brad Pitt, about the Spartans. Probably watched it 200 times.
It just shows how different we are.
Yeah.
I don't watch anything I never watched Troy.
Oh, really? You've never seen Troy?
I don't watch anything with comedies.
That's hilarious.
Most of the time, I watch anything.
I bet I've seen that movie 100 times at least. I watched it every night for a month to go to sleep with.
What's your second one?
Other than Troy, I've been watching the time out of Deadpool. I bet I've seen it probably 20 times. It's pretty good too. And the Scarface is up there pretty high. There ain't no telling how many times we sat and watched Scarface in college. Say hello to my little friend.
All right. One musician everybody needs to go listen to.
If anybody hasn't downloaded Cody Jinks yet, y'all are sleeping on that cat. He was amazing in concert the other day. And Cody Jinks needs to go ahead and fire whoever's producing his stuff, because he's a much better live than what he is on those records. If y'all are sleeping on him, go see him right now before he gets blew up and you can't get tickets.
Yep, I agree with that. All-time favorite athlete?
So my athlete's probably going to be a little different. They're probably in little different sports here. I would say my all-time favorite athlete's probably Jake Cutler, and not the football Jake Cutler. So he's a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Just seeing him, he was a bodybuilder. He won Mr. Olympia a couple times, and he's built an empire around himself after he got done. He had a game plan on the way out. So the way he turned into an entrepreneur, and that's kind of what I like about him is, so when on his way out, he's really made a name, even bigger name for himself since he got out of bodybuilding. In the same vein, Ronnie Coleman, he was the other big guy at that point in time. So those are my two. That's my 1 and 2 bodybuilding guys. Ronnie Coleman, Big Ronnie, come out on stage at less than 3% body fat, 297 pounds of muscle. He was an absolute monster. He was huge whenever they come out there. Now he had the big distended gut, and he had, he got fatter over the years, and he's hurt himself pretty badly now, and he's not doing in too good a shape. But those are probably my 1 and 2.
Okay. All-time favorite roommate?
All-time favorite roommate's got to be Jason Brewer.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. I was just roommates with him a lot longer than I was anybody else. So he was a good time, man. He's a different cat, and he's down there later too. But
we'll talk about him a little bit more.
Yeah, he was a good time, man. He was always, if he was riding somewhere, he was down to ride. And me and him had similar interests. We sat and played video games a lot. We laughed. I probably laughed more with Jason Brewer than I have anybody in my entire life, just because we shared so much in common. We was around each other so much. Probably my all-time favorite roommate.
Ever roll any smokes with him?
I have. I bet I've seen him roll probably 2,000 cigarettes, and I bet I sat there and said, "Let me just roll some of them for you." And I'd sit there and I'd just roll him some cigarettes. Man, I'd just knock out a couple packs for him right there. It was just the way him sitting there doing it just made it look like fun. So you just sit there and do it, and pack it in there and then slide it in a little tube and do another one.
I remember seeing so much loose tobacco.
It was everywhere. It was everywhere. He used to give me those American Spirit cans, and I kept everything in them. And whenever I moved out of there, I threw away probably 10, 15 of those American Spirit cans that he gave me over time.
So baseball or hockey?
I'm going to have to say baseball. It's because I played it. I've never played hockey. I went and watched a hockey game, and I'd rather go watch a hockey game than I would a baseball game. But if it's coming down to it, I've played more baseball and softball, so more being I've never played a game of hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'd have to say baseball.
Can you ice skate?
I don't know. I used to be able to rollerblade like crazy. I've never tried ice skating.
Really?
Yeah.
Mackie and his ex-wife and me and Lindsay went they took me roller skating, ice skating at Opryland during the Christmas time, and I fussed at them and got mad. I actually sit there and got mad, like I was heated because I knew I couldn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, let's not waste our money. I said, I'll sit on this bench and watch you guys do it, but I paid the $15 to put my skates on it. And it took forever to get them on. Then I was like out there like that guy holding on to the wall, and there was a DJ playing music, spinning music up there. He goes, "Oh, watch out! We got the professional coming around the corner here." So then I fell, and I was trying to hurry up and get up before the DJ noticed it. It was bad. It's not a good time.
Yeah, I always assumed I could ice skate. It's been a long time since I've rollerbladed though, so I may have lost at that.
Yeah,
time will get you.
LeBron or Michael?
I'm a Michael guy. I've not watched basketball enough to know what LeBron's doing. It was neat to see him because he graduated high school the same year I did. So it was kind of neat to see his career come from high school to where he's at now. But I mean, Jordan was the guy. He was our guy. I've not wore LeBron's shoes. I've worn several pairs of Jordans. I've probably got some old Michael Jordan shorts upstairs right now. Some Jumpman shorts. I've probably got some upstairs. Oh, yeah. So I mean, Jordan's my guy, man. He wins in my comparison.
Hey, me too. I remember us watching, me, you, and Brent, and maybe Josh, a few of us watched LeBron's first game against Sacramento. Yeah. In my apartment. Your favorite dunker of all time?
Vince Carter, man. He jumped over that 7-footer in the Olympics. Yeah. Oh, man, that was nasty.
Best dunk ever.
Yeah.
Your favorite all-time comedian?
There's several that I like. Jim Norton's really funny. His comedy kind of lands right or left of me sometimes. Jim Gaffigan gets me pretty good every now and again. Rogan's funny to me on his podcast, but his stand-up's a little off to me. He kind of idolizes a few guys that used to scream a lot, and that's kind of he yells sometimes, and that kind of throws me off. But probably the funniest I've ever laughed is Dane Cook. That's probably the hardest I ever laughed whenever he done the big one where he stood in just a little center stage out in the big arena. Yeah, that's probably the hardest I've ever laughed. So Dane Cook's probably got my all time. His brother really screwed him over, is why you don't hear from him anymore. His brother or brother-in-law maybe was his manager and stole a bunch of money from him, screwed up his taxes. That's kind of where he's at right now. That's why you don't hear from him anymore. He kind of got in some money trouble.
Oh, I wondered what happened to him. Yeah. Another answer that last week I said Eddie Murphy. Another one that I always really liked a whole lot was Dave Chappelle. The Chappelle Show obviously was a big hit during our college years. Yeah. But if anybody's ever never seen Killing Them Softly, the skit about the white friend smoking a doob and and how white people handle cops opposed to black people, and then also the Sesame Street bit. Do you remember?
Oscar? You're a grouch. Bitch, I live in a trash can.
Yeah, that's the best. That's one of the best too. So, all right. Your favorite curse word?
To me, it's the F word. Waylon's covering his ears. If you ask Kara, it's GD. I drop the F-bomb and GD pretty regular. But I've gotten a lot better over the years, but probably the F-bomb now. In all versions of it too. I mean, it's not. I'm not. I told you. Yeah, I don't just screw around with the straight 4 letters. I like to throw some flair in it. I like to throw
ER and INGs.
Yeah, I like to throw some mother in front of it every now and again. Yeah.
Go.
We just had to run Waylon out.
That's the thing. Yeah, go over there and play your game. Yeah. He's not been over here the whole entire time.
And he comes for that one. Yeah.
My thing about the F word is, there's so many different variations.
There is. You can use it for...
Like I said last week, you can use it as a noun, a verb, an adjective.
As an adjective, it has so much it can do. And I've always... That's always been my thing, is I've always said, it's just an adjective. Why is everybody scared of adjectives? And I've just always peppered them in. Now, it doesn't sound professional. I get it. In my world, it doesn't sound professional, and it's not good to do, and this and that. But God, sometimes it's just fun to let one out. You know what I mean?
When you can combine it, like it's the ultimate compound word, because you put.
It really is, and it really drives a point home too. Whenever you let it out there,
you can put it with mother. You can put it with stick.
That's a good one.
With face.
Yeah.
Tard.
It's the Swiss Army knife of words.
It really is. I bet you get some heat for the GD one, don't you?
Oh my gosh, do I ever? She don't like it. She's been after me from 2003 or 4 to stop with it, and so here we are 14 years later, and she's got me slowed down to a crawl anyway.
We've done a very good job, and Lucas really put this through my head early on that we both agreed on this show we weren't going to cuss.
Yeah,
and a lot of people really what was the word? Just they were honest, like be yourselves.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They were. A lot of people was like, this isn't you. Blah blah blah. Well, yeah, but the other thing is, like I was saying, it doesn't sound professional a lot of times too. So I mean, I can come out here and blast some F-bombs and some GDs, and it'd probably be more natural. Yeah. But it also throws a lot of people off too.
Well, the thing is, yeah, we get it. Well, a lot of people wanted us to be us, and look, I've even went back and forth with Lucas about this. Ultimately, he won, and as general as for par with our friendship, his rationale usually outweighs my passion at the time. Right. One, I was like, and I said, that's stupid. Why are we gonna do this? Why can't we just be ourselves? And like Lucas's way of explaining things, I'm like, oh, you're right. So yeah, listen. As much as me and Lucas actually use those words, it would probably not sound that great.
It wouldn't come off as well as what it does like this.
Now, if it's me and him and some other buddies talking.
Oh, yeah. If you're just down in the podcast studio and there's nothing to record, and it's going to sound a lot different than what it does.
And that's what a lot of people want to hear, but I think the other bit of our listeners probably don't want to hear that. But
yeah,
as it's come with time, is I've dropped a couple, and Lucas just kind of goes with it. But sometimes I feel like if you're telling a good story,
sometimes it has a place, right?
It's kind of place, and we've just learned if I'm going to drop one, we just go ahead.
We edit it out, or he lets me know about it, or he self-edits.
Yeah, something. So you're going to hear every now and then. But yeah, I agree. It's the Swiss Army knife of cuss words. What's your drink of choice?
Well, the easy thing to say would be say Miller Lite, right? And so if I was going to have a drink of choice, in which if I'm assuming that's what the question was based on originally, but I haven't in 7.5 months, and I haven't had a drink in 7.5 months at least, you know. And so like right now, my drink of choice is some type of flavored water. I'm killing some orange early rise and just wearing it out. So it, some type of flavored water at this point is pretty much as bland as I get, or as exciting as I get. I might throw in a Diet Dr. Pepper every now and again, but if you look in my truck, it looks like I kill some sugar-free Red Bull every now and again too. I
was surprised to see you drinking a Coke, a diet drink the other day.
Sometimes I just can't help it. I can't help it. Sometimes I just need some carbonation,
I
need a little flavor.
Yeah, that, of course, what I answered that water last week just to kind of throw you off. But we were always a Bud versus Miller.
Yeah, Miller.
Talk around here.
Yeah, I for whatever reason I never could get into Bud Light, but the Miller Lite kind of suited my palate a little bit better, I guess.
Every time you and me and Josh hung out, it was your Coors and Miller against my blue cans.
Yeah.
Okay, your celebrity crush.
Oh, Carrie Underwood, for sure. Carrie Underwood.
Her or her legs?
Well, I mean, that's the only reason I've got a crush on her is her legs. Okay. So there it is. We watched her whenever she was on American Idol or whatever show that was she was on. We watched her come on to there. So she was one of the ones that Carrie and I followed her career. Yeah. So we got to see it from the beginning, and we kind of see it now where it's at. And she just, gosh almighty, her legs are fantastic.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Her legs are Daisy Duke's legs.
Jessica Simpson, Daisy Duke.
Catherine Bach.
From the original. Jessica Simpson, Daisy Duke.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. That's the Daisy Duke that I'd go with.
Golly.
That was my toss-up between Carrie Underwood and Jessica Simpson. So either way you go.
I believe men have a better chance with Jessica Simpson or Britney Spears because they seem like they're a little off the rocker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Carrie Underwood's kind of holding it together a little better. At least she's...
Seems to be.
Yeah. She could be crazy as a loon, too.
Well, let's do a little name association here to wrap it up. So we're going to have one of our most loyal listeners, a binge listener, Randy Cherry.
Randy Cherry, man. He's the Swiss Army knife of people. You talk about somebody can do just about anything, that's Randy Cherry. He's work with him, kind of into, he can, if it can be built, Randy Cherry can figure it out, and he can read a drawing. He's got great ideas. If it can be built, Randy can do it.
And hard not to be around him and his brother
and not laugh.
Not laugh. Yeah, really easygoing people.
Easygoing,
and make you feel like you're the funniest person because you laugh at everything.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Daniel Collins.
Daniel Collins was one of my best friends for a long time. He was he and I used to race together. Whenever I say we were racing, he was the we side of it. Me and him went all over the place racing together. So after like 2000, we was always friends. I've knew him longer than I've known anybody. I've known him for 30 years now. I knew him whenever I couldn't know somebody, so I've knew him longer than everybody. And we just used to race together, man. He's a hell of a racer, and he was fast in a short period of time, and he was a lot of fun too, man. He could do just about anything, can fix anything too. If it's got a motor on it, he can.
Put your cattle up the other day.
Yeah, yeah, he come and he'll chase your cattle back in too.
C.J. McGee.
Oh, C.J. McGee. He was a buddy of mine from college. He and I were in class together, and I always thought a lot of CJ. He was I think he was in the same class as me, and then he swapped over and did something else. But I always had a lot of good times. Me and him played a lot of video games together in college. We'd study for 3 or 4 hours, and then we'd play video games for an hour, and then I'd go home. So I miss that guy. He's actually getting married. Shout out to CJ. Got a wedding invitation from him the other day. Okay. Getting married, and I ain't seen him in a long time. Miss that guy.
Well, same spectrum of that. Tyler Seahorn.
Tyler's the other guy that was in my same class. He was actually CJ's roommate. Another really smart guy. Me and him went through classes together. Did a lot of projects together. One of the funniest moments that I ever had at Tech. We were doing a big project together, and he said one of the funniest things ever, man. We were sitting, and this is an engineering joke, so everybody else may not get it. But anyway, we were looking for a motor, an electric motor, and we was looking for like a 0.5 horsepower single phase motor, which is a really small electric motor. And when we were looking for it, we couldn't find one. And one of the guys in my group went out and he said, "Well, I got a 500 horsepower 3-phase motor that we can find." I laughed, and I said, "Well, that's probably a little much for what it is we're trying to do, And Tyler was our group leader, and he's a leader now. He's really good now. But anyway, he said, "What about some 2-phase motors? Can you find any 2-phase?" And me and that guy was only people that understood what he said. There's no such thing as 2-phase. There's only single phase and 3-phase. And me and him kind of looked at each other. Me and the other cat kind of looked at each other and said, "You understand there's no such thing as 2-phase, right?" He goes, "Come on, man. I took a swing and I missed." I took a swing and I missed. You're going to throw me under the bus for trying? Anyway, he's funny, man. I miss that guy too. He's married and got a couple kids now. He's a manager down in Nissan. He's doing big things now.
Okay, Josh McCarter.
Oh, Shaker. That's what I'll forever know him as, is Shaker. Me and him went to all those soul judging competitions. We were in FFA and everything together. Moved Josh into his college dorm and then turned around and moved him out the next week, man. He one of those cats, super smart, and it just wasn't for him. He had a different path in life and wanted to try college and didn't care for it. Me and him walked into our first college class. There's 300 people in it. We graduated. Whenever he and I graduated, there was less than 300. There was like 290-something kids in class. And our first class that we were in school, and our first class we walked into had over 300 in it. So I don't know if it's overwhelming to him or what, but he didn't stay long and wanted to go back home. And now he's doing really well. And but he'll forever, to me, be Shaker. I'm not going to explain the story as to why, but he'll forever be Shaker.
I don't even remember that story. I forgot you called him that. Why was it again they called him Shaker?
I'm not going to say
it. Okay. Chucky Smith.
Chucky was one of my roommates. He's another one of my roommate. Vast bunch of roommates that I've had over the years. He was an interesting guy, man. He actually thanked me in his speech as when he was graduating high school, and he thanked me for showing him that there was you didn't have to be serious all the time, which I thought, which is interesting now, as serious as I've got over the last few years. But he thanked me in that. He moved in with me and had a lot of good times with him. And God bless him, his mother and father both passed over the years, but, had a great family. His dad would come up and stay with us a time or two, and his mom would come up and stay a time or two, and his sister would come over a few times, and so he was a good guy, man. Another one, he's a super smart cat. He's went and got a master's and maybe a PhD in engineering now, and he's worked for NASA, and he works for a contractor group that's worked for NASA. And he explained something to me he was making a centrifuge that was separating something at one point in time. He was leading the group that done that, and so I don't know what the details were, and he wasn't too explicit with the details at that point in time. So
where's he live at now?
I'm not even sure where he's made it to. I'm thinking up around Oak Ridge.
I was always second in the class behind Keeley.
Yeah.
Till 8th grade.
Then Chuck showed up.
Chucky showed up.
Yeah.
He was always so smart, and I found out what girls was, and I found out what the Crackett brothers was up to. And
then there you was going. There it was Chucky's now.
Went from like 2nd to 4th. Just Waylon's still right there. This is not a good week for you to come. All these good stories we could have told. Jesus. James Hatcher.
James was my first roommate. When I moved into my apartment, I moved in with James. We got an apartment together. I've been around James for years. He was part of those soil judging events, part of that FFA time. We've been frog gigging together. I put a gig in my back whenever we was frog gigging out late, like 1 o'clock one morning. And, a lot of fun, man. He's I'm taking a lot of stories out. Obviously, I'm leaving a lot of stories out. I don't want to piss anybody off, but he's always been around, always had a good time with the guy. He was anyway, he's just been around a long time. I like that guy. We had a lot of good times together.
Something you're going to tell there?
Yeah, I was, but I'll keep it to myself.
You sure?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we talked about earlier, Jason Brewer.
Yeah, Jason, I'll give the quick one on him. Great roommate, a little bit paranoid, but they rolled a lot of cigarettes, and just missed that guy. I wish I was around him more. I went and seen him the other day. Just he was in Cookeville, and I went and seen him. Me and him, we had lunch one time back about a year ago, and then I got to see him again back about 6 months ago or so, and just hung out with him for a few minutes. Good to talk to him. He's actually quit smoking now. All those cigarettes he rolled, he's gave it up.
What's he do with his spare time now?
I don't know, man. He's just working.
Huh. Adam Bryant.
That's my little brother, man. He lived with me for felt like he lived with us down here. He was with us all the time. We'd work all over the farm. He'd stay here with us at the house. He would call my mom. He was just always around. We've put up tobacco together. We've rode horses out here in the middle of the yard and got through off and chased horses around the yard.
I can't see you on a horse.
Oh, well, he was on it, but on me. I've rode several horses, but little brother. That's what I'd say about him.
Chris Boone.
Story about Chris. Me and Chris was really, good friends for a long time. Me and him always said that if one of us would join the military, the other one would join the military. Life went on. He got about 27 and told me, "Hey, I joined the Marines." And I said, I hope you're not going to hold me to my pledge there, because I can't now, brother. I said, I've got too much stuff going on now. He goes, no, I was just letting you know I was going. I said, so I appreciate the hell out of Chris, and I really appreciate that he didn't hold me to my word about joining the military.
Sometimes I think about the Nazis.
The Germans. That's what they call them.
Chris Payne.
Yeah.
Jace Fraley.
That's another one of my little brothers, man. They, my little cousin, grandmother lived across the road from me. I'll tell you a quick story on him. About knocked him out by the time he was about 9 years old. We was wrestling. I've always been bigger than most people, but we was wrestling. He was really little. Remember when he was young, he was just really tiny. We was wrestling in my living room. My mother has this big, thick front door at that point in time. It's like 1.5 inches thick, solid oak. And it was open, and I slammed his head into that corner of that open door, and just crying, about knocked him out. And instantly I thought, man, is he okay? Then I thought, I'm going to get in so much trouble for this, and so I was trying really hard not to to get him to stop crying and get some eyes on it before anybody's seen it. And I don't know if he ever told anybody about that or not, but I about knocked the kid out.
Cucumber.
Oh, Josh, he's another one of my roommates. One of the only people that was in college that I met that it wasn't because we were in the same classes or anything like that. I spent a lot of time with him. You introduced me to him initially you brought him to a musical down there in school. I don't know if you remember that or not. That's the first time I ever met him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember coming to that.
Yeah, you brought him with you. Yeah, and first time I met him, been a great friend ever since, man. Had been to see his family. He was best man at his wedding. Stayed with him a bunch. He lived, like I said, with his roommates 3 times. He moved out, come back, moved out, and come back a couple times. So
when he texted me before his wedding, he's like, I need to talk to you. So we talked, and he goes, I'm going to ask Lucas to be my best man. Are you okay with that? And I said, you son of a bitch. And he's like, well, I just want to make sure everything was,
Yeah.
And I said, I introduced you to, and that's the
that's the things I get.
I get. I was like, of course it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why he thought it wouldn't be fine, but it was funny that he asked.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Are you all right if I ask somebody else to be my best man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I've been in 27 weddings. I'm tired of buying tuxes. I'm all right. Your brother Curtis.
Big brother.
Yeah.
That's the big brother. He's older than I am. Hard worker, always been a hard worker. Knew he's going to be a farmer from the time he was little. Mm-hmm. And this cat can still big brother me. And there's not a lot of people that are like physically intimidating to me, but I'll tell you a story that happened to me about a year ago or so back here. We was hooking some piece of equipment up that I hadn't hooked up in a long time. I may not have ever hooked it up before. And anyway, he was backing up to it, and I couldn't get something right, and I was getting frustrated with it. And I said something, I don't remember what it was. I rattled something off, and he said, "Hey, calm down and just put it in." I said, "Okay, all right, man, calm down." He got mad, and I just went back and I did it and went on. I got to thinking after he left, I thought he just big brothered the shit out of me right then. He just took it right away from me, man. It was. I look back at that thinking he's always going to be my big brother, man. That's always going to be in there. Yeah.
Remember when Curtis had the mullet?
Oh, yeah, I've got pictures of it.
Yeah.
I bring him out every time he gets riled up. I bring him out. So here's your mullet.
Nikki, your little sister, Nikki.
My little sister, love her to death. Just got engaged. Wish her all the luck in the world. Walked her to school. Toted her around the whole time she was little. She was born whenever I was 12, so I got to really watch her grow up. Missed a good chunk of it whenever I went off to college. Yeah. But I'll never forget walking her to school one morning while I was walking up through there, and you could see the dumpsters from where we parked. And she was holding my hand, just walking up through there. And I start feeling like I'm dragging her a little bit, and couldn't really figure out what's going on. Turn around, she's got tears rolling out of her eyes, gagging, about to puke right there on the ground. I mean, just poor little things, just about to throw up. I said, "Honey, what's wrong?" She just pointed over there and she said, "I seen all that stuff come out." Now I just looked over there and there was just the nastiest old bunch of stuff just rolling out of there. And I just picked her up and took her up through there, and this poor little thing, eyes watered all the way up to her classroom, just trying to puke. It was one of those things you just won't forget.
All right, your Mama Beverly.
Oh yeah, my mama, really hardworking woman, had a lot of jobs over time. I remember at one point in time she had about 3 jobs at once. And she wait tables and folded cards at American Greeting and drove the mail truck, and a good woman, man. Just a good, hardworking woman.
Yep, sure is. She's always so nice to me every time I come to your house. She's always I mean, as both of your parents were. And so gets us to our next one, Coel Hickman.
Yeah. The one person in this world that's more like me than anybody else is Coel Hickman. I guess I'm more like him than anybody else. We'll send text messages back and forth about stuff that only he and I would get. Some I've got this. I may not be able to remember the words I'm about to say, but I can remember some stuff that I said or that happened 15 years ago. I can remember a lot of details about it. So me and him watched a lot of movies together over the years. We just and for whatever reason, I just won't forget stuff about those movies. And he'll text me a random message about some obscure line in a movie that we watched together 15 years ago. And anyway, he's a good movie watching buddy. Me and him's a lot alike.
Oh, I love him to death too. Yeah. He's just always
a good guy.
Okay, and last, Gene Hickman, your grandpa.
Gene Hickman. I'm living in his house. There ain't a whole lot I can say about him. There's a whole lot I could say about him, but not a whole lot will do him justice. I'm thankful a lot for him. Taught me a lot of stuff over the years. I wouldn't be where I'm at without him.
Woo. Yeah, yeah.
really, really thankful to have had him.
Well,
yeah.
And I understand the tears that you got. I mean, that's why I kind of kept it lighthearted about my mama last week because I didn't want to do the same thing.
Well, I was trying to. I couldn't.
Was he? You think he's the most influential person you've had in your life?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hard worker and like I said, just living in his house and carrying on this tradition that Camden will get to grow up in great grandpa's house.
Yeah, I actually took Camden up to his gravestone today. I guess which is a little bit why I'm tuned up right now. But anyway, miss that guy. Miss him a lot.
Yeah, and it's nice to see some emotion. It's you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I understand it because I won't go to my mama's grave with people.
Yeah.
Because some days it's harder than other days, and so when I want to get up there and cry like a baby, I want to do it
by
myself because I'm trying to keep that front. You know what I'm saying? I don't like crying from my kids.
Yeah, I don't
like crying from my wife.
Yeah, I don't like doing it. I thought I was going to be able to handle it, but it got me harder than I thought it was going to.
Well, that's all right. Yeah, it's all right. But I think I've always thought a lot of the Hickman family. So it was nice to hear. That's one of the good things about being out here. You when you grow up with people, you know their family real well. I've always said the Hickman family was just top notch bunch.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting.
Yeah, it was fun.
That was fun. It was
nice,
a good time.
Nice to get you on a spotlight more so.
Right.
And too much of the time, it's just me bumping my gums about stuff. So.
Well, you do a good job with it. You're always pretty prolific about things that you're working on. So it's sometimes I just like to get out of your way and let you go and just throw in some things if you just try to help keep you on track or think of things that you got that you may have glazed over that I think needs more talking about. But otherwise, man, you're really one of those just let you go because you do such a good job with it. So that's kind of what I try to do a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean. But like I said,
you can give me my $20 after this for saying that.
It's a give. It's both of our shows though, and that's a lot of times I leave here thinking, man, it's just too much about me right now.
No. Like I said,
it's cool
it was a good time. Like I said, a lot of times I'm more interested in what the technical side of it is and making sure everything's going right. I love sitting here, like I was saying with the mics. Mike DeMeza, I love sitting here and making sure he sounds good and stuff like that. That's where I'm.
Yeah, you're awesome at doing it. So
I've always said that if you're not failing at something, you're not learning anything. Mm-hmm. So, I've had some pretty big failures at this. I keep going back to Clay County High School, and that was a pretty big failure of the show. And so, I learned a lot from it, and I know what to do, what not to do now, and so on and so forth. And I know some of the things that went wrong, and I've learned more going on. So, anyway, a lot of times it's just me doing this stuff, and I just what I enjoy.
Yeah. So. Before we end the show, I'd like to thank. We ask you always for your feedback, and we know people listen, and we just wish that more people would reach out on social media or through our text and tell us what you like, what you don't like. So I'd like to thank Jake Stafford from Jackson County. He tweeted us last week and said he really loved the show. Yeah. The interview that we had with me, and he said he really, you don't know him, and I've met him, a handful of times there. So it's kind of cool that he can listen to two guys he really don't know that well.
Right.
Says it's like, he said it reminds me of times we just be riding the back road shooting the shit, basically.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jake, for that compliment. I really appreciate it. And hope you keep listening and with everybody else. So anyway. Well, I've
got to wrap it up, man. I've got to go to a cookout. It's a good time. I was hoping we'd get to do one today. I was hoping you'd get out of your sickness and get up here.
I'm fixing to go home, gargle some salt water, take another cough drop. Hope like hell. Like I said, I ain't got time for this. I gotta go to work, and I gotta drive 3 hours in the morning to Lexington, Kentucky, and be there for a couple of days. And then I gotta go lay my fat ass on the beach somewhere for the next week after that. Yeah. And damn, I was hoping I'd hit it. I
hit the gym just a little bit more than what you did.
I'm gonna try to do some push-ups, maybe. Yeah, because.
I've gone off of them because the unfortunate thing about push-ups is it just pushes everything out. If there's a lot on top of it, it's just going to make you look a little bit bigger.
Yeah, well,
keep them crunches to a minimum too.
Yeah. That's maybe my throat will quit hurting, so at least get some cardio in these hotels the next couple of days.
Yeah.
And, another thing, I'm not a big proponent of of men in tanning beds, but I was hoping at least hit one up a few times.
Yeah, you can stop and get that spray tan. What you need to do. Yeah.
The great American philosopher Clint Fraley used to say, if you're going to be fat, you need to be tan.
Yeah.
So right. I was hoping at least get a little tan going on next week. But, man, I tell you, life happens and shit happens and you get busy. And so I ain't got to go to the gym or get a tanning bed visit.
All right, everybody. Well, thank y'all for listening. I hope I didn't bore you too much. We'll catch you maybe Wednesday night, maybe not, depending on what DK's schedule is. Like I said, we're going to try to get a little bit closer to it before we can start working in some of Dustin's sports talk. Getting that back in since he ain't doing his radio. We might try to devote a couple to sports talk.
All right, man. We'll see you guys sometime soon.
All right. See you, everybody.